Casey. This is truth about the self. All the power that ever was or will be is here now. I am a center of expression for the primal will to good, which eternally creates and sustains the universe. Through me, its unfailing wisdom takes form in thought and word. Filled with understanding of its perfect law, I am guided moment by moment along the path of liberation. From the exhaustless riches of its limitless substance, I draw all things needful, both spiritual and material. I recognize the manifestation of the undeviating justice in all the circumstances of my life. In all things great and small, I see the beauty of the divine expression. Living from that will, supported by its unfailing wisdom and understanding, mine is the victorious life. I look forward with confidence to the perfect realization of the eternal splendor of the limitless light. In thought and word and deed, I rest my life from day to day upon the sure foundation of eternal being. And the kingdom of spirit is embodied in my flesh. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Sal. Good morning, family. Thank you for taking us to that space. Sal, it's good to see you back, by the way. All of your travels, I think Willie Nelson was singing in your ear like the last time you sang with me. On the road again. It's good to see you back. Is Radiance still in the room? I just wanted to, if she, because she's probably running around here doing something and being a blessing somewhere. Radiance, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm putting you on the spot. I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge something that is in you and on you and has been your whole life. And that is the call to ministry. It's not just a certificate. There's something that's getting prepared to come out of you that's even going to surprise you. You were born to lead. You have the presence of God in you. And the reason that you've been gathering all of the information that you have over these years in different churches, different spiritual leaders, different places, the reason that you've gathered the information is for this season that is about to unfold. The information is now becoming integration, and that's why there's been some agitation in your world, stirring and shifting and changing. And the reason that you are teaching now in the corporate world is because you're just sharpening your skills for the ministry world. All of that presented itself to you because you have been successful in everything that you put your hand to. And the reason you've had the struggle and the pushback against you as a woman in a perceived man's world is because your greatest calling is about to be unmasked. And that agitation, the irritation, and the integration now is bringing on your transformation. And I saw your flower blooming today on this platform. And I had to tell you that. So, thank you. Sorry, we were having this conversation, Derek. You guys. I'm currently in the strangest and weirdest phase of my journey. Something happens when you decide to face all of your shadows with love and embrace all of those spaces in you where there was hurt, trauma, and then shame placed over top of it to kind of lay claim to that real estate in your being. So what's neat is that when you uncover it, you thought there was a building there, but there's not. It was a facade. And that ground is actually very fertile for a garden. But what's really weird, though, is that when you do that, the person who comes out on the other side is not the person who went in. And so this is what in Christian tradition would have been called being born again. And this is what would have been called liberation or enlightenment in other religious circles. And Carl Jung would have just called it integration and individuation. The greatest spiritual thing we can ever do is to discover our own self fully. And I have spent all of my life on platforms, either singing or some people call it preaching. Some people just call it ranting. And I've spent most of my life performing, and what's interesting is that there's this thing happening in me now where I'm going to be as nice as I can be, where I'm getting to the place now where I just don't care enough to do anything that I don't want to do anymore. Like if it doesn't naturally emerge, not going to do it. And what's happening is I'm noticing that I'm no longer interested in conversations that are just bleh anymore. I'm tired of smiling at jokes that aren't funny. I'm tired of having conversations that are just bleh, meaningless. In fact, actually, they have meaning, and that's one of the big issues, is that people put meaning on stuff that's not real. I'm tired more than ever of the phony. I'm uninterested in hypocrisy. I just don't want to participate in it anymore. Is anybody else sort of feeling that way? It's just, we may have to rate this for live stream, but if it's bullshit, I don't want anything to do with it. That make us seize up for a moment? Did he say that in church? Okay, excuse me, if it's bull crap, I don't. What I mean is I'm just starting to smell it a mile away. And I'm allergic to it. It just so happens that I can break out in hives over it. Getting to the place that it's now Jon Scott that I was. Even the Jon Scott that came here initially doesn't exist anymore. He doesn't exist anymore. And whatever projections and your own protections of how you see that have been, I just want to inform you that the guy you've known is fading into the distance, because the next level of whatever it is that I'm unfolding to be is showing up, and it's disorienting, and it's painful, and it's scary, and it's because what happens on the other side of individuation, and I think Paramahansa Yogananda's group would have called it self-realization. What happens on the other side of that is that you don't even recognize the person you see in the mirror anymore. You don't recognize the person who's showing up and starting to respond instead of react. But this is what it means to be born again, family. This is what it means to have enlightenment and liberation. It's complete and total freedom. Can I just be raw and real with you today? You said it's too late, you're already doing that, but we're so hypnotized as a world. We're so we just are taking ourselves too serious. This is why Alan Watts said that, well, he said what's wrong with the world is that people take too serious what the gods intended to be funny. It's a big cosmic joke. And the joke's on us until we wake up to that in our understanding that the systems of our world are built on facade. And that includes religion. In fact, religion and empire together has created a concoction and a cocktail that is very intoxicating, but it is destructive. And that includes new thought circles too, where we had new thoughts and we forgot how to have them. And there's a call for real and raw. There's a call for people to really step into the truth of our identity. And I'm getting to the place where I'm glad I don't care anymore about being impressive. The rose doesn't ask for permission to bloom and to become fragrant. It just does what it do because that's what it is. A tree doesn't have to get a permit from St. Petersburg City Department to grow. It just... So, what's this have to do with today? Glad you asked. As we're moving through the chakra system, that's what it's called. So it's cool because we can use it for communication. But let's be, and I know to some people this comes across as sarcastic or flippant, but I'm starting to realize that the words we use and the communication we have, literally we've just built it so we can try to get on the same frequency with each other. But we've called it the chakra system. And we've talked the last few weeks about first being rooted, knowing that you belong, understanding that safety is not a luxury, that safety is a necessity. You need to be able to feel safe and belong in your own being and in your own life. So we've said we're going to be grounded in belonging. Look at your neighbor. I said that up north, and folks didn't look at each other, and then I was told later, like they thought they were going to have to go next door to see somebody. I said, oh yeah, I guess it's a southern way of saying, look at somebody next to you and say. So look at somebody next to you and say, you belong. Stop trying to fit in. Let's take the mask off. Let's take our power pose. And that's where we stand in the rootedness of the truth that I belong. And then we moved into the sacral. Boy, that was fun last week. And we talked about how pleasure's not a sin. In fact, it's a technology. And that your body is not an obstacle to your enlightenment. It's actually a doorway. And then this week, it was time for me at least. The book study, I think, was already in the solar plexus or going into the solar plexus and out of the sacral. But it was time for me to get into the solar plexus, and I realized something. That if we have fire, but we don't have the management of love, we can incinerate. And instead of bringing warmth, we can bring harm. And so it made sense to move solar plexus and heart into the same week. You know why? Because what we're seeing in our world right now wants you to get into the fire, but it doesn't want you to get into the love that tempers it and makes it useful. What's happening in our world is there is a request to be reactive, and we're seeing it everywhere we go, and people are becoming radioactive. Radioactive. Oh, sorry, there's a song in there somewhere. Was that Imagine Dragons? Is that right? Okay. So it's perfect. The conversation we had, not to punch you out, but to punch you out, the conversation we had last week absolutely prepared me for getting into the solar plexus and then into the heart at the same time. And I wanted to move into that for just a few moments. Everybody, everybody okay? Yes. You guys good? I mean, I know we're gonna have to rate our live stream now. We're gonna have to rate it PG-13 or something because of earlier, but hopefully we can all work past it. So the way, if I wanted to title this today, if I did title this today, the desire for me would be when willpower becomes love power. So when they join the dance together, when willpower becomes love power, because I don't know if you've been told all of your life, but where there's a will, there's a, but sometimes your own will gets in your way because we've been programmed to be productive, to grow up and be somebody. It's like life is a resume instead of reality. If you didn't see Midweek Connection this last week, I'm encouraging you to go check it out because I'm asking us to play for once and to realize that all of the roles we've been playing are just that, they're roles. It's not real. Many of us, life is passing us by because we are trying to get to the finish line and make sure that when we get to the finish line, somebody stands over our dead body and says, oh God, they were so good. We're more worried about legacy than we are about being a part of what's happening right now. We're more concerned about what we leave behind than what it is we're doing in the present moment. And there's nowhere to get to. There's no graduation. There's no diploma at the end of this. This is not just your training ground. This is a place where you're supposed to really understand what it is to live. So when the willpower becomes love power, that begins to happen. So the combination of these two gives us the ability to live in what I'm just going to call post-projection existence. Post-projection existence. And somebody says, what does that mean? I tried to share it a little earlier. I decided to clarify it in my own head. Douglas, I think you probably know where I'm going with this, but when we're in post-projection existence, essentially this is what's happening. Post-projection existence is not the end of an experience, but it's the end of constantly editing my experiences. Instead of editing it with my judgments, I'm experiencing it and allowing it to expand me. Many of us are shrinking the experiences. We're shrinking them through the filters of what we have learned instead of allowing it to expand our learning. And that's what I mean by post-projection experience. I want to live my life in that post-projection existence where I'm actually receiving what is being sent my way rather than judging it every time it comes. So, we're going to rise through the center, and I'm going to say to you, loved ones, we have been on a journey the last few weeks. We have been working from the ground up. We started with the root chakra. We are remembering the safety. We're remembering the intimacy, and now we're moving into the middle of the body temple, into this space, the fire of the solar plexus, and the field of the heart. These two, in my opinion, don't have to be necessarily taught in isolation. So that's why we're bringing them together. Somebody say, combo it, Reverend, combo it. We're going to watch them dance together because they belong together. One gives you strength and the other gives you direction. One is going to give you flame and the other one is going to give you warmth. It's the dance of life. So when the willpower becomes love power, let's look at the solar plexus for just a moment. It is the power of your identity. It is your boldness. It's called the mani or mani pura. And this inner fire center is right here just above the navel. And this is the place where you stand tall. This is the place where you start to declare, I am, I can, and I will. In fact, I'm going to ask you to do an exercise real quick. Everybody stand up. Those who are able, stand up. I'm going to ask you to really root yourself into the ground. Really feel the support beneath you. Rear your shoulders back just a little bit. Rear them back just a little bit. Pick that head up high. Place one hand or both hands on the solar plexus area just above the navel and repeat this after me with boldness. I am. I can, I will. I am, I can, I will. Now I want you to feel what that feels like right in the pit of your stomach, right there in the space called the solar plexus. This is the fire, and we're turning that fire up. I am, I can, I will. Now take your seat again with confidence. Now, spiritually, the solar plexus is about reclaiming your personal authority. I've mentioned to you before, I know more than one time, that the word authority and the word has the root word author. And that if you're not authoring your life, then you're giving your authority away to something or to someone else. And this is your story to tell. Somebody say, it's my story to tell. So when we're stepping out of the shadow of other people's opinions, we start to step into the radiance of our own truth. There's that word radiance again. When we're stepping out of the shadow of people's opinions, I don't remember who it was who actually said it, but Wayne Dyer is the one who really popularized it. He said, it's the true freedom happens when you are able to get past the good opinion of others. When you can get to the place, and not in a way where you're unwilling to experience somebody, sort of feedback in your life. I don't mean being arrogant. I don't mean being unable to learn. But when you finally get to the place where what other people think about you doesn't wreck you and it doesn't encourage you so much that it inflates you. That you get to the place where the good they say about you, you start to go, well, I may not be that good. And the bad that they say about you, you go, I ain't that bad. That you're able to balance it and recognize that the opinion of others should matter far less to you than your opinion of yourself, and in fact, it really does. Biologically, it is about the chemistry that you brew in your inner laboratory. So act as if for the next little bit that the fire that we've turned on is kind of like being in the laboratory, and you're getting ready to heat some things up. Somebody say, turn up the heat. Turn it up. Bruce Lipton said this in The Biology of Belief. He reminds us that your cells are listening. We said it last week, they're eavesdropping on your beliefs, but your cells are listening to your beliefs, not just your blood supply. Every thought is like an instruction that's whispered to trillions of microscopic beings on the inside of you. So I want you to imagine that what you're saying and what you're believing about your life is the instructions that you're giving to all of the cells in your being. And we're talking about 50 trillion cells in your body. They're all micro beings that are waiting for your instruction. And they can lead toward the construction of the life you want, or they can lead toward the destruction of the life you really want. If you believe that you are powerless, then your body is going to flood with stress chemistry. Dr. Bruce Lipton said, when you change your perception, the chemistry of your body follows suit. Cortisol, adrenaline, survival mode starts to stir in your body when you believe, if you believe that you're powerless. Somebody say, I am not powerless. The message your biology receives is to defend, contract, survive. We've said that we've come here to thrive in 2025. But see, we won't thrive in 2025 until we first revive the truth of our origin. And that is that you belong and that you are powerful. Somebody say, I'm full of power. You see, this is a difference than force. We know this. Dr. David Hawkins was the one who taught about power versus force. Force, whatever you push against is going to push back on you. Whatever you insist on and persist, whatever you resist will persist in your life. So we know that we don't want to experience force because force is always going to create a counterforce, but we have power. And that power that we have is to create. So if you believe that you're sovereign, then your inner pharmacy shifts and it begins to bring forth healing. It produces coherence in the body. And what happens is oxytocin is released into the bloodstream. Serotonin is released into the bloodstream. The biochemicals that literally balance your immune system are released if you can really get into the feeling that you are a sovereign, free agent imbued with the power of the divine. So this is what happens. You get immunity, vitality. You start to feel creative flow in your life. The message becomes, I expand, I trust, I thrive. Say that with me. I expand, I trust, and I thrive. Now, the solar plexus asks us these questions. Whose story are you running on? The loop that you're running on daily, whose story is that? Is it your story? Is it your mama's story? Is it your daddy's story? Is it that teacher's story who told you you weren't valuable or you'd never amount to anything? Whose story are you running on? Because if you're not running on your story, you're running on somebody's story. And so that's the question that the solar plexus asks. Are you still carrying outdated programs of fear, of shame, of smallness that were downloaded from your culture, your family, your religious experience? By the way, did you know, anybody know what the word religion means in the original Latin? You ready for this? It means to bind. That's exactly what it did. It bound us to a system and said, this is it. People wonder, why does Jon Scott always talk about religion? And why does he rail on religion? Because it's a system that it's held us in bondage, and it's tied us to fear, to shame, to guilt, to smallness. That's what's been downloaded into our minds. And we need to upgrade the code. This is not about throwing Jesus out. It's not about blaspheming God. It's not about trying to hurt religious people, but it's looking at the system and calling it what it is. And until we're ready to call it what it is, we can't even figure out how to dismantle it or at least walk away from it. But I'm here to tell you, if that's gonna hair-lip people, sorry. I'm gonna continue to talk about the systems that have helped to hold us back and to keep us from the truth of who we are. And that includes the systems of religion and economics and capitalism and this thing that we call freedom in the United States. Give me a break, really? You really think we're free? You really think we're free? Come on, we are a diseased society. Somebody said, John, you sound like you want to dismantle civilization. I said, show me a civilization. Show me one that's civil. Are we closer than we used to be? Maybe so, but in some way we've still been hypnotized back into believing that it can't be better. And what I mean by better is more inclusive, more compassionate, more equitable. It seems like we go through cycles of voices having to rise up again and remind us that we're human. Okay. Are you still carrying outdated programs? Or have you updated your inner code to align with real freedom, love, and your infinite possibilities? You have within you potential. But potential is like dynamite. If you don't light the fuse, it doesn't blow up. It doesn't do anything. So are we willing to really light the fuse on our potential? So here's the truth. You're not powerless, but you are programmable. And until we recognize that we've been programmed, we won't make the shift on changing the program. Somebody say, I came here to change the program. And not anybody else's program. See, I have decided to stop even being concerned about the program of our governments and of our country and of the religious. I am deciding to be free from it by reprogramming myself. Me. And some of the thoughts that I have sometimes, I go, John, that sounds a little insane. And then I remember what Christian G. DeMurdy said when he said, there's nothing sane about being well-adjusted to an insane world. In any world where it's okay to kill somebody because you don't agree with them, something's wrong. In any world where we are the wealthiest nation in the world, and we still have homelessness, and we still have poverty, and where CEOs are paid 300 times their average worker, that's insane. And we shouldn't think that it's just okay, because it's not. And some folks will say you're going to meddle and it sounds like politics now. No. I'm talking about human rights, civil rights. I'm talking about rights of human beings. I'm not interested in Democrat or Republican. In fact, let me say this right here, right now. Anybody who thinks that I have been too political, and you feel like some of the things that I've said have been too political, I want you to know that if it's offended you or made you feel isolated or marginalized, I apologize for that sincerely, because that is not my intention. My intention has only always been to stand up for people who are being threatened, people that I love, people that I care about, to call out systemic racism and homophobia and all of the other phobias that we see in the world, to be able to call it out. That has nothing to do, for me, it has nothing to do with Congress or Senate or the president yesterday, years ago, or the one today. For me, it's not about the White House, it's about this house. So I want you to know that if you feel like I have marginalized you in some way because of my statements, once and for all, can I please say this to our community and to everybody who's watching online? I don't care about politics. My statements are not about left or right. In fact, a bird needs a left and a right wing to fly straight. But if it could just be less of a bird brain, that would be fantastic. But I want to sincerely apologize. I'm being sincere when I say this. I know sometimes I can come off as flippant and goofy and stuff. I know that. But I want you to know sincerely, if I've offended you politically, I want you to understand that I sincerely apologize for that, because that's not ever my intention. What I want to apologize for is being me and being genuinely and authentically me. And I won't apologize for loving fiercely, And when I see people being threatened and I see what is happening in our world, I guarantee you that it is part of my call to speak up and say that where we're headed is a very dangerous place. It's a slippery slope. And if we don't recognize it and wake up from it, it'll sneak up in our door. It'll be at your doorstep before you know it. Because if we're going to allow it to catch up to others, it's going to find you eventually, no matter what demographic you land in, because it's looking to control us all. But I am always here to preach love as the main thing, because I want to keep the main thing the main thing. Okay, here's the truth. You're not powerless, but you are programmable. So the invitation is simple. Update the code. I can do that. Somebody say, I can update the code. No, here's what it says in Proverbs, the Hebrew Bible, Proverbs 23:7. It says, as you think, as one thinks in their heart, so are they. And notice it didn't say as you think in your head. Spot that for just a moment. As one thinks in their heart, so are they. So this is why I started meditating on this solar plexus fire and moving it into the heart. Because when I realized that that is my identity, this is my fierce identity right here in the solar plexus, I realized that it's important that what I'm thinking in my heart is influencing and informing what's happening in this fire. Because the heart is the deeper intelligence. The heart is the conductor. It's coherence. It is the place where thought and feeling and spirit converge into a living reality. And this is how I begin to create. The electromagnetic field of my life is projected out of me from my heart. And it is this space within me. As I think in this heart, so am I. So we move from the solar plexus Up just a little bit, that power of that fire of your will, up just a little bit into the heart chakra. And this is where fire softens into a flame. And this is where identity dissolves into love. Because I can realize that the fire of my identity is not the identity that others gave to me, but it's the truth of who I am. And this is how love dissolves that down and introduces you to the real you, the true you, the divine you, the heart-mind idea of the divine. Because as I've said before, your parents may have decided to have you, but God chose to send you. And the true you is the one who shows up when you begin to burn down the old identities. As one thinks in their heart, the heart brain reminds us that we are more than thinking machines. Science actually now confirms what the mystics have been saying for generations and for millennia. It confirms that the heart is not just a pump that's pumping blood, but it's an intelligence center. Affirm this with me. My heart is an intelligence center. Come on, one more time. My heart is an intelligence center. We recognize that the heart brain actually has 40,000 neurons. It has enough neurons, the heart brain has enough neurons that it has its own nervous system. And did you know that the heart brain, and this is what they call it now, the heart brain, it sends information, and it sends more information to the brain than it receives. So this heart mind is influencing this brain on a regular basis. It sends gratitude, it sends compassion, it sends love, it creates coherence with heart rhythms that cause us to calm down, to calm our fears. It actually gives you the ability to sharpen your clarity and to awaken your creativity. See, we think better when we think through the heart. And when we think through the heart, love is what is brought to the surface and projected out into the world. And when we think through the heart, we open up our whole being and we influence the world around us. Mystics call it the seat of the soul. This is where divine wisdom starts to whisper. Neuroscience actually calls it the conductor of harmony. Even science is saying that the heart is the conductor of harmony. Both of them are saying the same thing. They're affirming the truth that the heart is not just beating, it's knowing. And that the heart is our direct connection to the divine heart mind. So the solar plexus, it is powerful, but if it's left alone, it consumes and can cause catastrophe. That is why I believe that the solar plexus and its fire needs to flow through the heart. Because as it flows through the heart, which is the great harmonizer, we start to see that this unbroken space within us is able to make us a healer rather than a harmer. It gives us the ability to bring warmth into our world and to heal our world. So the heart chakra is not just an organ that's pumping blood, it's an energetic field. Now, real quick, some statistics, and I'm almost done. Somebody say, thank you, Jesus. Today's been weird. I'm glad he's done. The Heart Math Institute discovered that the electromagnetic field of your heart, check this out. They tested this. The electromagnetic field of your heart is 100 times stronger electrically and 5,000 times stronger magnetically than your brain is. And it has far less neurons. And that's because, check this out. I'm just gonna, science didn't say this, John's gonna say this. I think it's because in the brain, the neurons are distracted with so many different thoughts that it doesn't have focus. But the heart mind has one focus. And because of that one focus with those neurons, those 40,000 neurons, they're all focused and unified on one thing, and that is love. 1 John 4:8 says God is. So when that focus is on love, when there's attention and intention in that space, it becomes an attracting magnetic force. So the heart field is 100 times stronger electrically and 5,000 times stronger magnetically than your brain is. And that means that your heart is a broadcasting unit. And it's always broadcasting some kind of a signal. And the question is, when it goes out and broadcasts, what is it that it's saying? Because it is connecting, that's obvious, Joe, that's obvious. It's connecting with the consciousness field. It's connecting with the field of all that's possible. And that field is responding to you based on the signal you're sending out. This is why we struggle sometimes with manifestation. Because we're saying the words. We're praying the right prayers. We're asking people to pray with us. But because we have not become coherent in our being, there's a confusion that happens in the field. And this is why it's important for us to make this connection and to become coherent within our being. That means your brain, your body, and your heart become cohorts. And instead of fighting each other, they work together. And that becomes the mighty trinity of your being. So what does the heart want to broadcast? You said, John, that it's not distracted. What is it that it's unified on? Love. 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 Our whole world is obsessed with love. If I'm lying, I'm frying, and I don't feel a bit of heat. Nearly every song written is about love. Nearly every movie made, even the horror films, no matter how horrible it is, leads to what? In the weirdest way, even Chainsaw Massacre. God, I wish I'd have never seen that as a kid. Even that, there's a love story. Why is that? Because love is the driving force of all of nature. And the heart is unified on love. And when I start to move into that space and I allow it to lead my life, I will lead with love, love. Why is it that you feel that? Yes, it's sung beautifully, but why is it that you feel it? Because your body knows it's true. Your body knows that love is the answer. Even if we see hate rising, we recognize that hate is not a force. Hate is just the absence of love. It is not powerful. Love is what is powerful. Bruce Lipton said this: the power of love is stronger than the love of power. And it was Jimi Hendrix that once said, when the power of love becomes more important than our love of power, we will have peace. But Bruce Lipton went even further and said that the power of love is already more powerful than the love of power. And it's the magic. Biology confirms this, that the heart enters coherence through gratitude, through compassion, through connection. The rhythms of the whole body come into harmony. Stress dissolves. The immune system becomes balanced. And even hormones recalibrate when there's a coherence in the heart. It's a proven thing by Heart Math Institute that just 3 minutes in heart coherence starts to reverse sickness in your body. Because it begins to speak to every cell in your body and it brings your whole being into alignment with love. And so here's what we're gonna do, because I have more to share, but it's not even as useful as what we're gonna do. Nick, I totally am, what I'm doing to you, what I did to Kerri, throwing you a curveball. I'm gonna ask for a little bit of music underneath, and we're gonna do a heart-mind coherence exercise together, because I believe that's where healing is going to occur. And I'm gonna ask you to do something today that maybe you have not done before. I'm gonna ask you to let go of all seriousness. In fact, I'm working on a meditation. I was inspired by a friend of mine to work on this meditation that's an I don't care meditation, where you just go, I don't care. Yeah, but I mean, what if your spouse calls? I don't care. I'm not a spouse today. or right now, in this moment. I'm not a dad, I'm not a husband, I'm not a preacher, I'm not a minister, I don't care. You've already caught on. We're going to spend a few moments, and the reason I'm saying is I want you to have the opportunity of a lifetime to join into this, not through your logical mind, not through the intelligence that you believe you have, not through all you've learned, beyond diagnosis and prognosis, letting all of that go for a moment. We're going to bring the heart, the brain, and the body into coherence. And as we do this, you're going to leave here transformed. So that's the guarantee. But I'm asking you to go into this space without trying to think if this works intellectually. Remember, the heart is in alignment, and this is why it influences the quantum field more than the brain does. Because the brain has billions of neurons. The heart just has 40,000. And yet, it's 100 times more powerful electrically and 5,000 times more powerful magnetically. So I'm going to ask you to take a moment. Consider closing your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Allow yourself to just really get rested, relaxed, as if you're at home and you're just vegging out. Intentionally drop your weight, all of it, into the seat beneath you. Let the shoulders now begin to slump, falling away from the ears. With your eyes gently closed or holding a very soft gaze, become aware now of your body, fully aware of your body. Consider now placing a hand, if you feel comfortable doing so, on your heart space, right in the middle of your chest if you'd like. This is a way to be a touchstone. And now we're going to go into a breathing exercise that is proven scientifically to balance the central nervous system. We'll breathe in through the nose about 4 seconds and softly breathe out for about 7 seconds, breathing out slower than your inhale. I'm going to breathe with you the first few times, and then we'll ask you to continue the pattern as I give you guidance. Preparing now for that deep breath. Breathe in. Hold for a moment. And exhale. I'm going to ask you to get prepared to receive another deep breath. And I'm going to give you the count this time. And just make sure you're receiving fully. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for a moment. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for a moment. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Continuing to breathe in that way. Breathing in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding for a moment. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As you continue to breathe, the heart responds in coherence to gratitude, compassion, love. Bring to mind something or someone you are grateful for, or a moment in your life where you felt so grateful. Or bring to mind someone you really feel deep love for. Deep love. Could be a family member, a friend. Deep love. Allowing yourself now to feel that sense of gratitude and love. The whole body now is coming into coherence. The brain bowing its intelligence to the compassion of the heart. The body beginning to receive the message. I am safe. I am open. I am supported. I am whole. I am healed. I am complete. Holding that sense of gratitude, compassion, love. Imagine now all of the cells in your body standing at attention, waiting for the message that you come to send. Each of these micro beings within your body now, waiting for you to give the message. And here is the message. I am healed. I am whole. I am complete. I am well. I am happy. I am joyous. I am grateful. I am love. Allow yourself to feel those words and the vibrational frequency within your body. Notice as the cells begin to smile. They begin to rejoice and celebrate. And now you may begin to feel tingling in your body, especially in certain spaces where maybe there's a diagnosis, where they've told you dis-ease resides. You may begin to feel a tingling in that space. That's because the cells that are in that space now are relaying a message that is even more true than your diagnosis. Breathing into that space where you feel the tingling, breathing into that space, acceptance. I accept that this message is true. I accept that I am healed, that I am whole, that I am complete, that I am well. I accept that I am happy, joyous, that I am love. Holding that vision of gratitude, compassion, and love. Allow your body to hear this affirmation. I am not powerless. I am programmable, and my program is love. My program is love. Breathing in and exhale. Consider even whispering these words within your being. I am not powerless. I am programmable. And my program is love. As you sit here in this space and you're allowing your body to experience this healing and this wholeness, the integration of this coherent power, your electromagnetic field now is sending out this message into the world around you and into the universe. And the universe is answering back with full affirmation. And as we prepare to come back into the space, but here long enough, I leave you with these words. When the fire of your will drops into the frequency of love, you stop trying to prove your worth and you start radiating your truth. And from that place, the voice that rises in you is no longer noise, but it is healing. I ask you now to begin to wiggle your toes and your fingers. Maybe stretch a little bit. Feeling the temperature of the room. Become aware of the body, aware of the surroundings. And now sending that love, that coherence to everyone else in the space. Circulating that around the room. I am love, I am joy, I am peace. And I'm sharing it with all of you. Inviting you into that vibrational frequency. In the old church I grew up in, we would have said that this is the anointing of love, joy, and peace. I'm going to leave you today with this little poem that I wrote titled When Willpower Becomes Love Power. In the belly, fire speaks. I am, I can, I will. A golden sun of striving, a blaze that dares to build. But the fire without a heart burns more than it creates. So flame ascends the spine and pauses at love's gate. There in that emerald garden, the mantra changes tone. No longer I will conquer, but I will not leave you alone. Willpower bows to love power. Strength becomes embrace. The warrior learns compassion, and power wears a softer face. Now the body sings its vow. I am strong enough to yield, bright enough to soften, and I'm fierce enough to heal. When willpower becomes love power. And so it is. Thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here today. I want to say thank you to our music team once again. Thank you to, yes. Thank you to our leadership here. Thank you to this beautiful community. Thank you to you, because you make it possible for us to continue doing this. So as you think today about giving financially to this organization, consider it a support of the light that currently is and a seed for the future of this light. Consider that you are underwriting the possibilities for others to discover what you've discovered. And you're giving toward that. You're giving saying, I want to make an exchange for my own spiritual food. And I want to enter into the law of circulation. And giving is that. But I also want to make it possible for this place to be available to other people who are searching possibly in the darkness of their life. And they're looking for a light, a beacon of hope. And I am determined to make sure that a place like this not only stays open, not only survives, but thrives. And I know that this has been a season, and I'm saying this to you, I know this has been a season of transition, and I think it's all perfect. I don't understand it all, but it's all perfect, and I believe that it's leading us towards something that's even better than we imagined. So as you give today, make it known in your being that I am investing. I'm not losing something, but I'm making an exchange, and I'm investing in a ministry and in a vision that is attempting to be radically inclusive. Because when we say radically inclusive, I know, I'm still working on that. There's some people I don't necessarily want to include. I told somebody one time, I said, I quit preaching on hell too quick. There's some people I'd like to send there for about 5 minutes, right? So I know we're working on it, but we're setting that intention, and that's what we're saying. I want to support a community that is setting the intention to be radically inclusive, to show up as love, to show up as peace, to show up as joy. So as the ushers are beginning to receive the offering today, and they're starting to come by, you can give through cash or check into the plates today. You can give by using the QR codes that are up here on the screen. Those of you who are watching online, you're able to see all of the ways to give. Thank you for doing so. Appreciate you supporting this community as well. It is exciting that we have membership abroad, around the world. I consider us to be an international ministry. So as you give today, you're giving not just for the United States and this local community, but for those who are watching around the world and tuning in. So thank you for that gift. The offering's being received. I'm going to put Reverend Radiance, I'm going to put her on the spot again and ask her if she'll pray over the offering again when they get here in just a moment. Yeah.
Take a moment to give thanks. We're so grateful for these gifts that have been received. We're so grateful for every single person in this community. We give thankful for this movement, this global movement of love, blessing billions every day. And so right now, please raise your hands and just send the love in the direction of our ushers. We give thanks to every member of this community, in person, online. We know that as we give, we receive. And so we step into this flow of circulation and good. And so we see these gifts multiplying, unfolding, blessing each person in this community, blessing the entire world. We know that this is a world where there's more than enough. And so we step into that space. And so with this, we see this energetic vibration of love flowing in this sanctuary, on this campus, in the entire St. Pete community, across Florida, across the U.S., across the entire planet. We see this global movement of love burgeoning and blessing the entire planet and just sending love everywhere that it is needed, right here and right now. And so it is. We give thanks. Amen, amen, amen.
All right, let's stand to our feet. It is time to go home. And let's say our mantra, love is who I am, gratitude is my attitude, abundance is my nature, and well-being is my birthright. High five your neighbor, share the love.